Today we're going to learn how to use absolute cell references. Off camera, I have entered some information in Excel. You're welcome to hit pause and enter this information as well. In this example, we're going to build a table that will show us how time and interest rate will impact the future value of an investment. But our main focus is setting up and formatting the spreadsheet and learning how to use absolute cell references. First of all, notice how the word investment in cell B2 does not fit properly in the cell. This is an easy fix. We just need to make row B a little wider. Take your mouse and hover it over the line between row B and row C like this. You will notice the cursor changes shape. When you see it change shape, double click the left mouse button. Now the row will expand to fit the widest cell in row B. Next, we need to set up our years. There are several ways to do this. One way is to show Excel a pattern and then drag cells down to copy that pattern. So left click on cell B7. Type the number 10 and press enter. Whoops, I made a mistake. There are two ways to fix it. I can double click on cell B7 and edit the cell like this. Or I can single click on the cell and type the correct number, overwriting the cell. For a quick, easy fix, the second method is better, but if I had a complex formula in the cell, then editing the cell is the better option. Next, left-click and hold the number 5 in cell B6, then drag down one cell to highlight both numbers and release the left mouse button. Move the cursor to the lower right-hand corner of the selected cells. Left-click and hold, dragging down. Excel will automatically figure out that I wanted to count by 5, and it will fill in the numbers. Now let's do the same thing with the interest rate, but using a different method. Click on cell C5, type 0.01 and press enter. Then select C5 and look for the number formatting on the home ribbon. Click on the percent symbol to format this cell. In cell D5, we're going to type an equal sign, 0.01 plus, and we will click on cell C5 and press enter. Excel has formatted for us, but the formatting is not consistent. Let's fix that. Select cell C5 again and find the increase decimal shortcut on the home ribbon. Now click on cell D5. Release the mouse and move the cursor to the lower right hand corner of that cell. Click and drag and release. The future value function is not the main focus of this video. I show how to do that in another video. I will put a link in the description. So we're going to type equals FV and then in open parentheses, and we will select our rate, which is 1% in this case. Type a comma and select the number of periods, 5 years in this case. We skip the payment field by typing 2 commas. Then we enter the negative of our investment in the PV field. So we will type a negative sign and select cell C2. Next, we will close the parentheses, hit enter, and we're done. Well, almost done. We forgot to put a number in cell C2. Let's go with $8,000. Now we start to get a picture of how powerful Excel is. We know that investing $8,000 for 5 years at 1% will get us roughly $8,400. But we can also drag this formula to figure out the result at the end of any year using any interest rate. Let me show you what I mean. We're going to click on cell C6, move the cursor to the lower right, click, drag, and release. Oh no, that didn't work. Why don't we learn why? Double click on cell C11, the last cell in the sequence. The formula is color coded so we can see what the formula is using as an input. The only correct value is 30 years in red. Everything else is pointing to the wrong cell. This is because we use relative cell references, meaning that the location of the cell reference is relative to the location of the formula we're using. We need to use absolute cell references, meaning the formula will always point to the same location no matter how we copy, paste, or drag our formulas. So let's double click on cell C6 and let's correct the formula. The rate in this case is in row 5. So we always want to point to row 5 no matter what we do. So we need to place a $sign in front of the 5 in this cell reference. Do this by hitting the F4 key. It will cycle until we get the $sign in the correct place. And now we're done. Next we need to look in the B column because the number of periods is always in the B column. We'll click on the next argument in the function and hit F4 until a $sign appears in front of the B. It took 3 times to do that. Finally, our investment will always be in cell C2, so we need to take both the column and the row and turn them into absolute cell references. We'll hit F4 again. Press enter and we should be good. Now let's drag that formula down again. Now we just need to fill in the rest of the table. Click on cell C6, where our first result is found. Note the cursor is a thick plus sign, and drag down to highlight all of our cells. Release the mouse key and move the cursor to the lower right. The cursor will change to a thin plus sign. Click and drag, and then release. Now we need to do some formatting so that we can set this table up to draw the reader's eyes to the headings. Let's start by inserting some cell borders. Highlight cells B5, where the word years can be found, through B11, and release the mouse button. Then on the home ribbon, find the drop-down menu that we can use for borders. Select that drop-down menu and choose Right Border, and then click somewhere else in the spreadsheet. Do the same thing for your interest rate, but this time we're going to select a bottom border. So we're going to click on the word years in cell B5, highlight all of these interest rates by holding down the mouse and dragging over, and then off of the home ribbon, under the font formatting, we're going to pull this drop-down menu and hit bottom border. And now we are done. So in this video we covered some basic formatting options and absolute and relative cell references. There are many other formatting methods in Excel, and each individual tends to develop their preferred method of formatting their spreadsheets. I prefer simple, clean lines. As always, if you have another way to do the same thing, please share in the comments. This channel is all about learning, and I can learn a lot from interacting with you. In fact, it was a student that showed me that I could use the F4 key to create an absolute cell reference. Don't forget to like and subscribe.